After having taken over 300 flights, today I'll be sharing the popular travel items that I no longer fly with and what I bring instead. The first thing I stopped packing is a big pile of separate charging cords. I used to travel with at least 3 cords in order to cover all of my devices, and looking back at it, that was quite the waste of space. I used to pack every cable under the sun, from USB-C to USB-A, because my phone, laptop, Kindle, and whatever else I was carrying all needed something different. I'd even toss in those little adapters that convert USB-A to USB-C, since you never really know what kind of outlet you'll get on the plane or at your hotel. Now I bring one universal multi-tip cable that switches between USB-A and USB-C and has all the connectors built in. This is such a simple and effective swap. It charges everything and replaces an entire handful of cords. Let us know down in the video comments what is one travel essential that you bring with you on every trip. The next thing I no longer fly with is my old power bank. Older power banks can actually get you into real trouble at security. I used to travel with a trusty Anchor power bank I had for years. It worked perfectly and never caused issues until the day TSA pulled it. That older model had been recalled and is now banned by several airlines. Not a fun discovery. And it turns out that many older lithium-ion power banks do not have the temperature monitoring systems that newer ones do. They are more likely to overheat and possibly even catch fire. So TSA and the airlines are cracking down on anything without clear safety markings, anything over the airline-approved watt hours, or anything tied to a recall. And you definitely don't want to wind up accidentally trying to fly with something that is on the banned item list. Not fun. For reference, you are allowed to fly with power banks under 100 watt hours with no problem. Those between 100 and 160 watt hours require airline approval, and anything over 160 watt hours is never allowed. But even if your power bank meets those limits, if it is old, missing its watt-hour label, or does not show proper safety certifications, TSA can still confiscate it. Now I fly with a newer, low-heat power bank that has built-in temperature monitoring and automatic shutoff. Newer models like this one are designed for air travel, and the safety markings are printed clearly so there is no confusion at security. Before you pack a power bank, always double-check that yours lists the watt hours right on the label. And remember that power banks always go in your carry-on, never in your checked luggage. And if you are enjoying this video, then definitely consider subscribing to the channel. It is a free way to support us, so Ollie and I really appreciate it. He might not look excited, but trust me, he's excited. The third item I stopped flying with is a pair of wired headphones that I used to pack just in case I needed them for the in-flight entertainment system. These are no longer necessary since many newer aircrafts now have Bluetooth-enabled screens, which is awesome. Now I leave the wired set at home since I was really only packing them for the flight. I think I spent more time untangling them than actually using them. We are spoiled these days with all of the wireless headphones. On the rare chance I end up on a very old plane without Bluetooth connection, flight attendants will probably be handing out free wired headphones anyway, and if they don't, you can either watch from your own device, which does connect to your wireless headphone, or buy a cheap pair on board. A helpful tip if you do decide to travel with only wireless earbuds is to buy a tiny anti-loss string or silicone strap. That way, if one earbud slips out, it won't disappear forever between the plane seats. That would be bad. I personally love the magnetic ones you can find on Amazon. Next on the list of things I no longer fly with is a small sling or fanny pack hidden under my jacket. I used to always have one since I was using it to try and sneak extra items onto a flight. But I swear gate agents are now trained to look for hidden bags, and this trick doesn't seem to work as well. If they see it during boarding, they will count it as a second personal item and may make you check your carry-on bag at the gate. That can cost you $75 or more. Instead, I'll add to my carry-on allowance by traveling with clothing that has built-in storage, like my favorite travel leggings from today's video sponsor, Unbound Merino. Their merino wool leggings are super soft, incredibly comfortable, and have a hidden waistband pocket to stash small items like your phone, headphones, or snacks safely out of sight. Unbound Merino's clothing is a total game changer for travelers since merino wool is this magical fabric that both regulates your temperature and resists odors, which is an absolute must have on a long travel day. There are a ton of stylish options for men and women, including both my favorite leggings and the most flattering pair of men's travel pants I've ever seen. But if I could only pick one Unbound Merino product to get started with, it would be their socks. These are basically magic for your feet. It's the one time you can gift someone socks and they won't be disappointed. You can find the link to check out Unbound Merino for yourself down in the video description, and you'll definitely want to do it soon as they are currently running their cyber sale and it is the only sale of the year. The next thing you won't catch me flying with anymore is cash. It used to feel practical to have some on hand, but it is basically useless now. Most major airlines have gone completely contactless, so you literally cannot buy anything with cash on board. Even that tiny snack box requires you to have your card saved in the airline app before you fly. Airports are shifting the same direction, with more self-checkout stalls and card-only kiosks popping up everywhere. The bigger reason I stopped traveling with cash is simple. If you lose cash, it's gone forever. There is no protection, no tracking, and no refunds. Losing cash is the worst. Except having cash stolen. I feel like that's even worse than losing it. But you get the point. With a good travel card, you get instant charge notifications, fraud protection, and even the ability to lock your card from your phone if something looks sketchy. Plus, you actually earn points or rewards on every purchase instead of handing over paper money that does nothing for you. For international travel, I will grab a small amount of local currency from an ATM after landing with a debit card, but there is no reason to stockpile cash or exchange a bunch before a trip. Cards are accepted almost everywhere. ATMs usually give you better exchange rates than airport currency counters, and a card with no foreign transaction fees keeps everything simple when you travel internationally. Just remember that if you are paying with a card while in another country, always choose to pay in the local currency and do not select the option to exchange to your home currency. The conversion rate is usually terrible, and sometimes there are additional hidden fees baked in. This next one is such a simple and effective swap. You will love it. The fifth thing I stopped flying with is those thick, structured cases for electronics and makeup. They take up way too much space, which is not ideal when airlines are cracking down on carry-on sizes, and many basic economy tickets only allow a personal item. I switched to simple Ziploc bags for most of my organization, and it has been one of the easiest wins for travel. This one swap saves a ton of space. Clear bags make security incredibly quick because TSA can instantly see what is inside. I also pack my in-flight essentials in a Ziploc bag inside my personal item bag. This bag inside a bag strategy lets me grab things like my headphones, flight snacks, and eye mask quickly without the frustration of digging through my entire bag while I am cramped in a tiny plane seat. They're basically free, super practical, and endlessly useful. I use them for wet swimsuits, dirty clothes, and even shoes that I don't want touching the rest of my stuff. I love this one. The seventh thing I stopped flying with is those overpriced travel-sized toiletries from the pharmacy travel section. They seem convenient, but you end up paying 4 or 5 times more per ounce, and you are usually stuck with whatever generic brands happen to be on the shelf. Instead, I take the products I use every day at home and decant them into TSA-approved refillable bottles. The only travel-sized items that are actually worth buying are solid products that replace liquids. Think sunscreen sticks, shampoo bars, or solid cleansers. These do not count toward TSA's 311 liquid rule, and you can pack as many as you want in your carry-on or checked luggage. But for everything else, just buy the full-size item and then put it into a travel-size container before you fly. You'll end up saving money, and you'll also be able to use products that work for you. Also, speaking of travel-size containers, skip those cheap, rigid bottles. Go with travel pouches instead. I ordered a ton of these in various sizes on Amazon, and I have been using them on every trip. These pouches are most perfect for decanting things like sunscreen or other creamy liquids that if you put them inside of a bottle, you're never able to get to the bottom of it. And then when they're empty, you still have the bottle to carry around. When this thing full of sunscreen is empty, it's completely flat. Also, yes, I use Kids 50, doesn't sting your eyes, and I'm very white, so it's the best protection. The next thing I no longer fly with is a bulky pill organizer. Not only do they take up a ton of space, but here's the bigger issue when it comes to bringing medication on a flight. TSA and international customs prefer when medications stay in their original packaging with your name and the prescription label. And while it's not mandatory for most medications, prescriptions that are in their original bottle with a clear label can save you from extra security screening as well as unnecessary questioning. And in some countries, they can be confiscated if you cannot prove what they are. Some very common medications in North America, such as anything containing pseudoephedrine like Sudafed or even Adderall, which is a standard ADHD medication in the United States, are highly restricted or completely illegal in countries like Thailand. Keeping everything in the original bottle helps you avoid serious issues at customs. The next item I no longer fly with is a big reusable water bottle. Instead of a water bottle, I will fly with a wide mouth thermos. A thermos like this does everything that a water bottle can do, and so much more. A thermos does it all. You can fill it with ice water, hot coffee, or tea, and it works for your entire travel day. I also like using a wide mouth thermos for instant oatmeal or soup, which a regular water bottle can't handle. If a thermos isn't for you, another great swap for a water bottle is a collapsible bottle. The next thing I no longer fly with is a travel neck pillow that does not compress and takes up a ton of space. It's really not that comfortable if you are trying to sleep on a plane. These days, I skip the neck pillow altogether and take advantage of something most newer planes already have, which are flexible headrests. They bend inward to cradle your head and keep your neck stable, and honestly, they do a better job than any bulky pillow I used to carry. However, if you swear by these and you love them, one trick that I did find is that instead of wearing it like this and trying to sleep on it, if you actually flip it around, oopsie, if you flip it around and you wear it like this, and then you sleep on it, it is so much more comfortable. But even with that trick, I am not packing one of these. That was dramatic. My go-to plane comfort setup is simple. I use a contoured eye mask that does not touch my eyelids. I bend the headrest wings until they support my neck. I lift the little secret button under the aisle seat armrest to get more room, and after takeoff, I slide my personal item bag back behind my legs so I can stretch out. It only needs to stay under the seat in front of you for takeoff and landing. I break down a ton more simple and effective comfort hacks to upgrade your next economy flight in another video, which I'll put on the screen now and link for you in the video description to watch next. Don't forget to hit subscribe to join us back for more travel tips and hacks each week, and I will see you in that next video soon. Bye. Actually, we will see you in that next video soon.